Okay, awesome. So let's get started. Um, Good morning and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's presentation for a video volunteer project. So we have gone through 1 month of analyzing the data and creating the dashboard to help video volunteer to address their questions and the needs. And among, I think we have 34, um, we have 34 submissions and sorry, I think I just clicked through the slides, but among 34 submissions, video volunteer has selected 5 submissions and invited all of you to be here today to present your views. And based on that, I think we will hear from video volunteer as well on your thoughts, your feedback on the submissions of our volunteers so far, and maybe you can select a few winners out of our 5 presenters today. So with that, yeah, now I go through this slides, which is about, we will take a nice photo at the end. And so the process today is first the opening from Vis for Social Good. And after that, we will hear a few words from video volunteers. So Tony, and if anyone from your team who would like to speak, please let us know. And then we will have the presentations from the 5 volunteers. And after that, we will go through with you our Vis for Social Good Champions Tracker certificates, and then we will just wrap it up. So this is the dashboard that Fred has made to summarize all the 34 submissions for this project. And we can see where our volunteers come from. So a lot of submissions from United States, Japan, India, yeah, and we can see the occupation, level of expertise, and the tool use, which is mostly Tableau, but we also have Power BI and other tools as well. And before we go on, we just like to have a congratulation to Noor from our volunteer from Indonesia, and he got recognition from Tableau Public for Vis of the Day for his visualization for our project. So that's a big achievement, and unfortunately he's not able to be here today to present, but yeah, this is a heartfelt congratulations from all of us to Noor for his wonderful work and wonderful contribution to the project. Okay, so now we will go to the presentation process, and on the screen we see the name of our 5 volunteers who will be presenting today. So yeah, so before we go into this process, Tony, would you like to have a few words, or do you have anyone from your team? We're happy to hear from them too.
Thanks a lot, Dee. I'll be happy to quickly share a few things from our side. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Super excited. I think we got nearly 34 submissions, and honestly, like I was telling earlier, I think we learned a lot. I think we're still learning while going over the submissions. But quickly, I think about video volunteers. We are a community media, human rights, and a governance nonprofit. We have been working in India for nearly 15 years. We work with the most marginalized community members. And the data that you've worked on, the data that we'll be seeing today, will be from the community data that we have gathered from the grassroots. Apart from that, I think, honestly, the 5 people that we chose to select today, definitely were one of the best submissions that we received, but at the same time, there were, I think, 30 other submissions that were really good. Honestly, choosing the 5 has been a difficult task for us, but it was a fun process. But honestly, I think if it was possible, we would have loved to have a lot more people presenting today, but due to time constraint, we're only going with 5. At the same time, today, to be honest, we might not have a specific winner as say, because for us in some lens, even boiling down the top 5 was the most difficult task. So in our view, I think the 5 people presenting today are among the best presentations we saw. And we also got to learn from, right? I think internally where we are going through why this presentation is good, I think questions that we asked ourselves was, is this helping me learn something new about my organization, something new about the projects that we're doing? We asked ourselves, is this telling a story that we never saw, a lens that we never saw before? Is this showing a certain kind of filter that we never used before? These were just a few questions that we asked ourselves, and we also made tons of notes. I think all of us who reviewed these dashboards made a lot of notes about, oh, this is very interesting, or that is very interesting. So I think, honestly, this was a wonderful opportunity for us. And again, thank West for Social Good for this. But yeah, I think we might not have a winner per se. I think in our view, everyone here today is winner at this. And but yeah, really excited, looking forward to you sharing about your dashboards, looking forward to how you did certain analysis, because I think, as I mentioned, I'm not good at this. So for me, I think there were a few things I'm hoping to learn from today's session. But apart from that, yeah, thank you so much again for making time and for joining us. And those of you who couldn't, we are missing you here. But yeah, over to you, Dee.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. I see Jessica is here with us as well. Jessica, would you like to have a few words as well before the participant starts?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say it was really interesting to see these. I am not a particularly data literate person. I'm one of those people who sort of skim, you know, who doesn't really know how to read data. And I learned a lot. I had no idea that some of the things that we saw were possible. There were definitely a number of things in there, I was seeing for the first time. So I'm really fascinated by how you all helped to increase our digital literacy.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks, Tony and Jessica. So without further ado, let's go into the presentation by our 5 presenters today. Before we start, I would like to ask if any of you would like to need to present first or last due to some personal commitment. Please let us know. If not, then we will just go according to the order we see on the screen here. Is that okay with everyone? Yeah, okay. Okay, that's great. So I guess Ron, you will go first. And again, let me just go through the timing. So each of you will have about 5 to 7 minutes each, and maximum is 7 minutes, so that we can try to keep it within the time frame. Please share your screen and tell us your data story. If your dashboard is interactive, now is the time to showcase the features in your dashboard and bring out the interesting findings from your visualization. And after that, there will be about 3 minutes Q&A after each presentation. And after all the 5 presentations, video volunteers will give feedback for the session and for the submissions. And if they are able to decide on the winner, they can announce the winner as well. So this is...
Can we ask all of you to choose the winners, because you guys are the data experts? We know our organization, but you guys know Tableau.
This is a very tough job. I understand. Okay, we will see. Let's wait until the end of the 5 editions, and we will see what we can do. Okay, So I hope that is clear. And with that, I will pass over to Ron to go through his visualization. Ron, over to you, please.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ron. I study data visualization at the University of Washington last year, and I'm now a freelance Tableau developer. I live and work in Tokyo, Japan. So this is cherry blossom season, and happy spring to everyone here. This is my first time participating. I'm one of the 23 people for this first time. I'm so glad I did it. It reminded me of the weekly assignments at the university. And I'm going to be quick and compact, just like my dashboard. So I don't have a data story because my submission is an interactive exploratory dashboard for the user to just play around, and this dashboard focuses on a few, so it's only a few key performance indicators. And on the left side of the dashboard, you have a geographic map showing the impact rate at a district level in the state of Jharkhand. I hope I pronounce this correctly. I calculate the impact rate by dividing the number of the impact videos by the numbers of the issue videos. For the color coding, I use two colors. Red if the impact rate of that particular of the district is larger than the stage average, and gray if the impact rate is lower and underperformance is in gray. For the user, they can filter by issue type and the year. And if you click on the user clicks on the district name on the map, that in action will refresh the three bar charts on the right hand. So the three bar charts like serve as a complementary additional information for the user. The top is the impact rate over time on that district, and the national, the state average, right? And in the middle, you have the number of video reports, solved and unsolved. Ideally, we want to see more darker red and less lighter red here. And the bottom is the people who benefit from when the issue is resolved. And this just this dashboard does. So next, I want to talk about the design choice behind this dashboard, and why I chose to do this. First, I chose to focus on the impact rate as the main KPI here, because from the project details, like from my understanding, is the ultimate goal of this visualization project is to increase your project your impact rate, right, from 1 out of 5 videos. And so I did focus on the and like they say, you can improve what you don't measure. So I thought it's a good idea to first visualize the impact rate, like to understand how stakeholders are doing right now, so we can improve that later. And the second design choice is about how to present the information and how to include the audience in the visualizations, so I could make the dashboard relevant to them. And the best way to do it was to allow the user to compare their district against other districts and the stage average, just also known as benchmarking. And without directly saying that you are underperformer, you're doing not so good, and allow user to explore the data. I believe that they will less resistant to the fact and they become more motivated to take action to improve the current situation. So that's the reason, that's the logic behind this design. And by no means this simple and compact dashboard is going to give you a complete picture. But it's a quick reference. It's a conversation starter that will lead to more action. So I hope that it's going to be helpful for the user and for the organization to improve the impact rate. Okay, that brings me to the end of my presentation, and I'm just so sorry. I hope I did it within 5 minutes. Like I said, so it would work. Okay,
Yes,
thank you
you're
for your
perfect.
presentation. And a shout out
Thank
to
you.
some of
Thanks,
my
Ron.
friends. I saw some of my friends did join this meeting today. So thank you for a shout out to them too. Okay, I'll go back to you, Thi.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Ron, for this great dashboard. If you don't mind to keep sharing, because we'll let Tony and Jessica
Okay.
see if they have any questions for you. So Tony, Jessica, you have about 3 minutes. If you have any question for Ron.
Yes.
Sorry, I should have shown interact. Oh, hello.
Sorry. Oh yeah, we can see it interactively. How do you get the maps in there? How did you get those district maps?
So Tableau have that, the mapping in Tableau has that capability. So I didn't create the map.
So like Tableau has all the districts of India in a map?
Yes, but I needed to do some corrections, not like perfectly matched, like maybe 4 out of these 20. So but they do have at the district level in India.
Wow. Okay, I had no idea. That is very useful. I mean, it makes me, it makes me want to put all of our national data into Tableau to see how the different states, are going with each other.
It's
and
easy to
that's
scalable.
possible, huh?
Yeah. It's easy to scale with this map, Tableau mapping. So
Today is
Wow.
for phase 2, Jessica. You can come back with us for another round of project. Since you have the national data.
That would be amazing. The other thing it's making me think is if I could pinpoint where the different people are, like, would it be possible if we asked them to say, do a Google location of where they live at home, everybody do geotag where your house is. What could have been possible with this if we had given you that, the 50 correspondents or 100 correspondents in Jharkhand and their geolocations?
yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah,
Is that possible to do something with that?
We can have, I think it's possible. Anyone who know better than me can answer this, but I think for the correspondent, we can have a table that like with the name and the district, like we can have that table, so we can like connect that and can use that as a filter. Yeah, I think that's possible, but I'm not sure if you can have the coordinates and then you can add.
Just we can design for that kind of stuff. Maybe there's a lot of potential. So it's a big yes for everyone in the room. So let's talk offline and we can expand the project.
Okay.
So now we got some answer from Elijah. So it's possible.
I mean, Ron, that's just an example of how you've made us think, right? Which is the point. What you said, as you said, it's the point to start a conversation.
Yes.
Okay, that's any more question from Tony or No? Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think that's just a comment, Ashley. So for me, when we viewed the design, I think it was simple but clean, right? It was clean and simple, but it also there was focus on certain data here, only specific data, which for me, the same question came, what if we're able to map it across other states or other national data that we have, right? So I think that was one of the reasons this stood out to us. But yeah, thank you so much, Ron, for doing this. Yeah. And thanks a lot for the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ron, for your very clean and nice design. Next up, we have Candice Che. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Candice, you're next, please. Show us your data visualization.
Yeah, sure. I'll start now. A bit of noob when it comes to Zoom, so hopefully I can share my screen. Entire screen. All right, let me know if you can't see my screen.
Yes,
Can
we
I
can
see it?
Yeah.
Awesome. I was pretty chill until I saw Dennis rolling, the king of math, try to squeeze in a Van Gogh moment. But yeah, let me just get straight into it. So what has really stood out to me during the process of preparing the data was how each individual volunteers were different. They all come from different backgrounds and different areas in the state of Jakarta. Some of them are passionate with water issues and some are passionate about power and energies. And these are the individualities and nuances I would really like to tease out instead of having them buried under some generalized statistic summary. So that's the thinking that goes behind my design. If you look at my dashboard, it has two tabs to it. The first one gives you that high level headline numbers. For example, how many authors and number of videos and people impacted. The first question I would like to explore is what are the stories about? So as you can see, most of the stories are revolving around anti-poverty program, but the story with the highest impact are the ones focusing on health issues. So that's some interesting insights right there. Also, what I've also noticed is some issues tend to correlate with the others more. For example, out of 1,000 or so video, 99 of them has livelihood as primary issue and anti-poverty program as secondary issues. So that seems to show me there are certain issues that has higher correlations than the others. Next question is which video has the highest impact? And this is interactive. You can click on the dot and it will take you to the YouTube link so you can have a look. If you go down the page, this is a bit of interactive map. Yeah, I'm a bit nervous showing my map in front of Dennis, but yeah, when you click on the a district, the rest of the dashboard renders according to which district you render. The chart on the left to the map is a chart called Sisson. It's something that I really like because it shows in a straightforward way that how is this district trending comparing to the state average. So you can see the red dot represents the district performance in these various topics. All right, once you go beyond this stage, this is where the things are getting more personal. So at the band below, you can choose, you can see who are the volunteers from the area of, I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm not going to pronounce it, of the district. And you can see some headline number of, if you click on the volunteer, you can see some headline number and what is their proudest impact. As I alluded to before, the individualities and the uniqueness of each individual is something I really want to tease out. For example, just by looking at this highlight number, we know what is Anusha's proudest impact video and some highlight number. If you want to find out more, you can click here to find out, hopefully renders. Okay. Now we have the entire history of Anusha in front of you. It shows you what is the top issues in the district he or she is from, which is health, and what is her proudest video about. When it comes to the creating this dashboard, majority of my time is probably spent in using API, scraping the YouTube metadata, trying to get this thumbnail and description out. I'll just quickly show you the script I've used to scrape through it. When I finally hit the title, got some results back, I was in shock because I couldn't understand any of this language. So that's another round of data cleansing. And this is just getting the title of the video. After that is scraping the YouTube metadata, try to get the thumbnails back. But I think it's very worthwhile investment because we are all visual animals. There's nothing more compelling than showing you the thumbnail of what their videos are about. And also, these are interactive. When you click on it, it'll take you to the video. Let me come back here. I think. Oh, sorry. I think it's my. I think it's my. Let me stop it. Not the best time to show it. I think that's it. I'll stop presenting. At the end, a call for help. There's only 20% of the 2,000 stories have had made impact. Despite of that, our volunteers still persevere for years. So there's no better way to show your support than click on the link below and get in touch with the organization. All right, I'll wrap up here. Stop. I'll leave my screen open and come back to your face. Am I still online? Can you still hear me?
Yes, we are speechless at your amazing work. Thank you so much, Candice. Really amazing. So Tony, Jessica, do you have any questions for Candice?
I think Candice was one of the people who submitted very early. I think it was the third, if I'm not wrong. And Candice, it was not helpful at all. I think we saw that, and and I think that it geared us for what more was to come from other presentations. But for me, I think my favorite one was the averages one, because I think yours is one of the few dashboards which shows averages across the whatever district or the individual that we choose across the state average, right? I think yours was the only one which showed that. I think that was super amazing. You called it a certain name. Can you please share what it's called, the feature or the element? You said it's MISO, perhaps something around MISO. What is that?
Sorry, say again.
The averages one on page 1, the one that you show average of the district to the state.
This one?
Yeah, what is it called?
It's this one chart. It's very useful when it comes to comparing, yet to your point, Tony, comparing to average.
Awesome. Honestly, thank you so much for doing this. I don't have really good questions. I think I do want to have good questions, but would love to invite my team members to ask if they have questions, but also invite others. I think because there are other data experts here, I think you might actually have questions that might help us learn more in this process. So if there's 2-3 minutes that we have for each presentation, would also love to invite others to sort of share their questions on the chat. So if Candice could take them. Yeah, but honestly, Candice, thank you so much.
Thank you.
While we're waiting for others to ask questions, Candice, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I am in Australia, same as Frederick. Not sure about you, but it's close to midnight now, and my partner has been booted out of the bedroom because I'm commandeering it for the presentation. Yeah, so apologies if my words are jumbled up because it's way past my bedtime. In terms of work, I work for a ASX 20 company, one of the biggest retailer in Australia, as the finance database lead. In my downtime during weekend, on top of doing dashboarding, I like painting. So I'm big on combining analytics and art together. A lot of people tend to think they are two distinct entities, but in my opinions, they're perfectly complementary to each other. So that's me in a nutshell. Hopefully that gives everyone enough time to come up with some interesting ideas.
Candice, was there any data that you wished we had and we didn't have? And actually, as anybody presents, we would love to hear that, because we're always asking, what data should we be collecting that we're not already collecting?
Yeah, as I said before, I really want to celebrate the individuality of each volunteers. I try my best to tease out their background information and their biographies, but I think there's still something missing, like their occupation. Wouldn't it be good if we can show their age and even their gender? I was looking at Anusha's bio just now. I couldn't figure out whether it's a he or she, or yeah, there's something that in the future will be keen to get my hands on.
Yeah, and we actually have that data. The database, this was an export of Vivi's database. We also have a separate section of the database, which is the bio data of the CCs, surveys that they have filled out periodically about family income, poverty level, community, how many people live in their area, how far from a district hospital do you live. That's one set of data that we have. And then another Excel, another thing is on our website, which is a WordPress website. Each CC has a profile, which is like a bio. They each have their own page with a written bio. Probably we should have given that too for them, but we didn't think of it because to us, they're sort of different data sets that are not really, that we never actually connect, and we should have connected them.
Yeah, do you think you would make a more compelling story? Because as I was making the dashboard, I start to want to find out more about them, what they look like, and to your point, where they're from. Yeah, good to know that data is there.
Right.
Okay, that's great. If there are no more questions for Candice, maybe I'll just like to have my personal feedback for Candice. I love your piece, the way that you focus on the first start with the high level from the village and goes down to a personal level of the volunteers. That is a kind of highlighting the contribution of the volunteers as well. So that is very thoughtful, and that's what we want to do here at Peace for Social Good. We want every volunteer here to feel like a star as well. So that totally resonates with our approach. Thanks again, Candice, and thanks Tony and Jessica for your questions. So next up, we have Alison Wood. Over to you, Alison.
Hi, everyone. I'm just sharing my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Okay. So just a little bit about me. My name's Alison Wood, and I live in the US on the East Coast, North Carolina. And this is my first time participating in this, and I've had a lot of fun. I feel like I know I went one direction with this, but I think this could have been taken in many different directions. And I kind of had a hard time focusing because I kept seeing different things in the data that I thought I could bring to light or help bring to light. But I did finally focus and create a final product. So just, I'm going to get right into it. And then if we have questions, then I can answer them. So my goal here, I wanted to really create a high level one pager type of view where a person coming in here could just quickly get an overview of the state of affairs in Jharkhand, basically to see what types of issues are affecting the entire state, where the issues and certain issue types may be concentrated, and then who these issues are affecting. In addition to that high level view though, I wanted to create an interactive experience and the ability to deep dive into specific areas and aspects of that who, what, and where of the video reports that the correspondents have created. So I made the entire dashboard filterable by any element in any of the charts. I also thought it was important to visually separate the issues reported, the problems that needed to be addressed on the top here from the impacts that were eventually achieved as a result of the videos that were published. And I also tried to build this with multiple target audiences in mind. Community correspondence, if someone wanted to come in and see, have a bird's eye view of the predominant issues in their areas, or what community and government officials may be needed in order to achieve a certain type of impact or to help with a certain type of issue, then I thought this might be helpful. Also, the community and government officials themselves whose actions are needed to help achieve the impact, to help it resolve these issues. For instance, if a government appointed official wanted to see the areas in, oh, hold on. Sorry. The government appointed officials wanted to see in Chhatra what issues are predominant in Chhatra, they could see those and then see what issues are actually have achieved an impact with their help and how they may be able to help in the future. So I just want to take you through a quick example. This is really interactive and it's just a simple view, one page type thing. But if I wanted to learn specifically about women or issues affecting women specifically in this district of Chhatra, we just click on the elements in each one of those charts. And first thing we see is there are 20 issues that were reported that affected women and in the district of Chhatra. And one community correspondent apparently reported all of these issues. They did all of the video, all 20 of these videos. Poverty is the most prevalent issue affecting women in Chhatra, both in the number of people affected or number of individuals affected, as well as the total number of issues reported. And then if we want to, and then if we go to see where the impacts were achieved for those 20 issues, about 25%, so a little, or about the average or a little higher than the overall average of impact rate or issue resolution were achieved for women, issues affecting women in Chhatra. And I will say, like, even though I'm singling out or I'm looking specifically at issues affecting women, they also, these individual affected are also count in other groups affected. So they don't just affect women solely, they affect other groups as well, but we're just interested in issues that maybe predominantly affect women in these areas. And we see at the bottom for the impact area, it takes about, on average, across all of these issues that were resolved, about a year, a little over a year, to resolve all these issues that affect women. But on average, for this poverty issue, it takes double that, about 2 years, to achieve impact for those issues. And one out of 7 of those issues actually achieve impact, which is a pretty it's a low percentage and it's much lower than the overall average, as well as the average impact rate for affecting women in Chhatra. So perhaps someone could see this and see an opportunity to mobilize other types of officials, because we see that government appointed officials were needed to achieve impact for these five issues that were resolved. But maybe there's an opportunity to mobilize other types of officials. Maybe there's an opportunity for current government appointed officials to step up their game and help mobilize and help create more of an impact and get the word out on these issues and get the ball rolling on these issues. So that's just a quick overview of the interactivity. And I don't really have a data story. That was just one little small story that you could dive into. And you could do this for any combination of these charts, issues, filters.
Thank you so much, Alison. I'll just dive right in. Alison, I think one of the things that stood out in the dashboard for me is the video icon, the first time when I saw it, and also the Start Here button. When you click on it, it shows you where you need to point, what you need to do on the platform, which I found was useful. And I also saw this is something we always wanted to do internally also, but we never could do. So I think for me, that Start button was super useful. But apart from that, I think amazing work. I'll sort of let my team and others in this group to ask any questions if they have any. But for me, this was amazing. Yeah.
Jessica, any question from you?
I have a question about Tableau. I'm in my head, I'm thinking, how could we put any national level data, like official government data, into this? Does Tableau have any of those data sets? Or how does that work? Or like you find the data set and then you import it in there?
When you say national,
yeah, like government data. So for instance, so the data story would be this many video reports have documented failures of the anti-poverty programs in XYZ district. The official data shows this. Why might there be that discrepancy between what the government is saying and what people are seeing?
Yeah, I think like depending on the data set or the data that we get, I'm sure, as somebody I think mentioned in the chat, the possibilities are endless. So, and we're all data people here. So I think we could figure out a way to match that up, whether it's by district, the district name, which might be the simplest way to do it. But yeah, that would be something that I think is possible. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Amrita. All of you have done really great work, and I got an opportunity to see most of your work. My very basic question, especially with everybody presenting, is that how much time did you take with the data set to turn around into this? Because that really depends on scalability, right? Like this particular one is really good. I definitely, like everybody, love the video sign because it's so symbolic, and Start Here and the instructions, and also the way both issue video set and impact video set interact with each other. It's really good. So I love these features, but I do really want to know, how much time did it take to get this done?
I can't quantify the total amount of time, but I will say I really did dig into the data and try to get it. I think Tony mentioned, it was kind of in our kickoff meeting, the data is not the cleanest. I mean, it was pretty clean from what I saw, but I really had a good time, and I like that kind of stuff. So I had a good time getting into, like, especially the fields like the primary affected groups and the actors needed. So those were lists of different groups separated by commas or semicolons in a single cell or a single cell. So I just had to get creative and use like programmatic ways. I did use R in the background to do a lot of the data manipulation and the cleaning before I put it in Tableau. But I'm sure some of the stuff could probably be done in Tableau itself. I did spend a lot of time with the data before I started trying to visualize it. Does that answer your question?
Not really. I mean, but like,
You're
you know, given that, let's say if you have clean data, then how many hours would it take to visually represent it?
Well, knowing what I know now, it probably wouldn't take much to replicate what I have, if that makes it easier. Because that was my hurdle, is understanding it, and then looking at the chat in Slack to understand the different types of affected groups and how things could be rolled up. So
did you all have to do any internet research, like about India, or could you do all of this? Maybe some of you know a little bit about India, but for those of you who don't, were you able to do all of this without kind of understanding this, which to me is pretty amazing. If you could just do all of this just off of the spreadsheet, as opposed to having to do some research on some of these topics.
personally, I did have to do some research, just Google a few things that I didn't quite understand, to understand some of the groups, like Dalits and Adivasi. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing those correctly, but I did really want to understand that, and the structure of the district to the state to the whole country of India.
In your presentation, in your visualization, I also like how, according to themes, I can see average months to impact by issue type. So that is very useful internally as well. And I think even when I select CCs, that changes, right? So it's very, very interesting. Like according to district, when it changes, it's very good insight to plan things and quick.
Yes.
Yeah, this interaction I love.
If I could go back and answer your other question about how long it took. So I did work on this for a couple weeks after work. So maybe a few hours each night for a couple weeks.
Cool. Yeah, that's what I was looking for, because it is not to like judge you, or I'm not a data, and I can't do this. I cannot visually represent data like this, but it is more for scalability, because we have 230 people right now. So, and like so many states. So what is the possibility of having some of these features, and how much time will it take and all of that? But yeah, very good work. Very impressive.
I think, thanks a lot, Amrita. Amrita also leads the impacts and advocacy team at our organization. She's one of the senior people at the organization, I think. But yeah, thank you so much, Amrita. Alison, thanks a lot. +1 to something that you guys were saying earlier is one of the things that blew me away as well was it was only one session that we had with you to share about the data and the context of video audios, and to see amazing dashboards like this come out after that just one session where I also heard my audio was good. I think with very less context to be able to do so much, I think absolutely blew us away. I think that's it. Deep, over to you. Thanks a lot, Alison. Just a question on what you did with the start here thing. Is it something, again, a feature of Tableau as well? Is it something Tableau allows you to do?
Yes, and this is something that I saw on some submissions for the last This for Social Good project, and I thought, oh, that's so neat. And I wasn't sure that how a person would interact with this is easily apparent. So I wanted to make sure you knew exactly how it worked when going into it before you touched anything.
So, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you for all the questions. And obviously there's a lot of interest in the features and different insights you have, Alison, that you put together in your piece. That's really amazing. That allows us to do a lot of drill down to analyze the data, the data, and understand the issue at a deeper level. So thank you again. Next up, we have Maria Florencia. I hope I pronounced your name
Yes,
correct.
that was right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Over to you. Thank you, Maria.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. First, thank you for inviting me to make the presentation today. I'm really glad to be here. And thanks, video volunteers, for trusting us with your data. I know it's a really important piece of information for you, so thank you for trusting us. So okay, now here we go. The idea of my dashboard, I create this dashboard having in mind what Tony said the day of the presentation, that you want to capture the attention of potential partners and new collaborators, and to show how impactful is your project. So what I try to do with the dashboard is to make a presentation to some other people that might not be familiar with the project. So I decided to start it from the very beginning, because my first question was, okay, video volunteers, you can have kind of sense of what this is about because of the name, but how it really works. Let's say, could I be a video volunteer myself? Or maybe I'm part of a grassroots organization in India. Could we partner with video volunteers? Or if I'm working for the government, could video volunteers help me to improve my task? So the good part is like, it's really easy to understand. So you need to make a video, you call for action, you involve partners, and you share the results. So digging into the information, watching some videos, what you were doing, this is my summary. So you need to make a video report to explain the problem and to show the impact of the problem in the community. Then you call for action. So you share the video on social media, but you can also stream the video in your community. And if you have the chance, you can show the video to key stakeholders. Then video volunteers try to engage with other partners to solve the problem, other NGOs or social movements, and also to involve government officials when it's needed and possible. And then finally, this is a really important part of the project, because when the issue is solved, you need to create a new video so you can share the results, you can show the impact of the video, and you can amplify the positive actions. So now that we know how it works, then we can zoom into a Jharkhand example. And here, again, we have the map. At least for me, that I'm not that familiar with India, it's good to know where is the province in the country. And in the map, we are going to see a short summary of each district, and we can see the total number of video reported, and then the issues that have been solved. Out of those 10, for example, here, 4 have been solved, and then 31 people were involved in solving the problem, and more than 2,000 or almost 3,000 people were impacted. And the color in the map is telling us how many videos were created. So the darker the color, the more videos you have in that district. And for example, this one was the one that impacted me the most. This is Gumbla district, and they received 71 reported. They could solve 29 issues, not that many, but when we see people involved more than 700 and people impacted more than 1 million. So this was super important. And then, as I want to show the impact of the project, I filter the data based on the issues that had been resolved. So then when we analyze the issues, we focus on those that have been resolved. And first, they are organized by topic. And we can see there are 2 main topics: water and sanitation and anti-poverty programs. Both receive, topics receive the most issues that were solved. And then there is a second group, infrastructure and education, and a third group, corruption and and government and accountability, and can go all the way down until faith and religion, and 2 video reported were solved. And then I really like this graph because here we can see the number of issues resolved by year. And this is telling us, like, although there were some ups and downs, the projection is that you are going to continue solving more issues every year to come. And we can also analyze and compare one year to another because we can see the type of issues you solve each year. And for example, I think this comparison is super important because in 2011, the issues that were solved were basically education and development and innovation. And only 1 year after that, you still have education, development and innovation, but also infrastructure, religion and faith, anti-poverty programs, and corruption. And the issues have been changing a long time. And for example, now, last year, have all these other issues. Then the last graph I included is this one. And all of these little dots are the videos. And the colors are consistent. So every time you see this light blue, we are talking about anti-poverty programs. And as you can click here, this one, just a random one, and then click on the link, and it is going to take you to the actual video. So you can, and at least for me, not coming from India, not being familiar with the project, it was really nice. Here we go. It was really nice to see the actual videos. So this is real people, real issues. So I think it's super important to have the videos when you try to present your project to new people. And of course, as we are talking about Tableau, this is all interactive. And there are many different ways to approach the dashboard. All the 4 graphics are connected. So anything you click on, it's going to modify the other things in the screen. So for example, our approach could be a geographical approach. So you say, okay, I want to analyze the district of Gambla. So if I click here, now we can see the resolved issues by topic only in Gambla and also the years. And we can go another step forward and we can say, okay, we want Gambla, but we only want Gambla in 2022. So we click on the year and now we see the issues for Gambla 2022. And if we click on health, this is going to filter over here, health. But if we want to see only the videos that were resolved in Gambla in 2022, here are the videos. Let me try to go back now. It's gonna take a second. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, Maria. You have 1 minute left.
Okay, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
And you can do the same from different approach. You can start with the topic and then analyze the geographical reference and the years, or you can start with the year. So everything is like these different layers. And finally, the numbers. After 12 years of achievement, 200 districts have been reached, 230 community correspondents were involved, 3,550 issues resolved, 19,303 videos reporting, and 32.25 million lives impacted. And that is, for me, a super compelling story. So, and I hope the presentation was also compelling for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really great work. Tony and Jessica, any question from your end?
You're putting us in a very hard position to ask questions here, because I think each time we look at the presentations, gosh, it's absolutely amazing. I think for me, this particular one stood out largely around because the use of there is text, there's images, there's different interconnected data, all used in just one view, right? So I think that stood out a lot, because I've seen other dashboards where image was on one layer where it's not interactable. There was it was blocked away. It was in different pages. Versus for me, I think what this did was it actually brought everything in one place. That stood out a lot the first time I reviewed it. Second was, I think also just noticing how, the district one is interconnected to the other areas here that largely around resolved topic and resolution by year. But also it was interesting. So I think Maria, thanks a lot for clarifying how the rationale for only using certain data, right? I think even I was curious around why other issue areas, or why a lot of other data was not used, but I think you started with the context that this was for a partnerships approach, where you want to show the good sides on it, where you want to show resolutions more or other things, right? I think that was helpful. At the same time, I think my team might have questions. At the same time, I'd also like to introduce you to Grahesh. Grahesh from our team has joined here. Grahesh is a tech consultant with us. He's also the person who we all will be going now to with asking questions around Tableau, because he understands Tableau a little bit and data. So he's our go-to person for data and other things in the organization. But yeah, over to you guys. I think Jessica, Amrita, Grahesh, anyone else on the chat, if you have any questions, please do ask, because honestly, I think we do need to ask better questions here to help us learn more.
Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. It really does tell a story. I really love what you've done with the graph, because also graphs, I mean, in fact, it is by, we do a lot, like in our program, assessment of our own work by comparing year-to-year data in different ways. And this was one of the only ones where we saw that being done. So it's great.
Thank you.
I don't have a particular question, but like I said, like for each one of you, if you can put in chat how much time it took. In this case, like Tony was saying, there's such a good balance of text, images, and everything. My favorite is definitely how it works. Like so simply putting it in one go, like what is happening and how it is happening, and especially like hovering the mouse there and it gives you more details. So the text is balanced beautifully. I think you did not show my favorite interaction with the graph is actually the 4 elements are connected, right?
Yes.
The district, the graph, and the line graph, bar graph, and the line graph. So in the bar graph, when you select an issue, it shows how over the years it has done. I think that is my favorite interaction of insightful data. So basically in one click, I know like in Jharkhand, how a certain issue has thematically done when impact is being resolved. So I feel that's very useful for us. I mean, it's actually really good. We can ponder over like what's happening and where we need to give trainings, like while planning the next year. This is one of the things. So that is very good. One thing was that I couldn't figure out how to go back to the main page. So I would just refresh it. I'm pretty sure there's a better way to do that.
That's tricky, and that's how Tableau works. So once you click on one of the graph, to go back to the previous view, you should click on the same graph, but outside of the section you have chosen. And when you click more than one, you have to go backwards step by step. So if I click this one and then the year, to go back, I need to first unclick the year, let's say, and then I unclick the issue.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cumulative, right? So, and sometimes it's difficult to, now it went back.
Thanks, Amrita. Maria, I think one other thing that was super helpful was, as we're taking down notes, I think one other thing we're trying to take down notes is around how you guys are presenting this data, right? It's super interesting for us because even presentation of data, I think I loved how you showed a certain issue on the year by thing. You're able to show how in the beginning you only had around 2-3 issues, but over the years, within a year, it's changed. There are 4 new issues that we're covering, or by 2022, we're covering 8 different kinds of issues. I think those small things also around how you all are presenting data, I think is giving us cues to show it to later to others. So thanks for doing that as well.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Maria. And now we come to the last presentation by Elijah Sisson. Hope I say your name correctly. Please
Yeah,
pardon me with
Sisson.
all the names. Yeah. Okay, so over to you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. My name is Elijah Sisson. I currently live in Los Angeles, California. I'm a student. I attend California Polytechnic University of Pomona. And I'm studying to be a data analyst at that college. I'm the last one, so I'll try to make it quick so we can all get on with our day. I'm honored that you guys selected me to present this visualization. The learning process of cleaning the data and looking through the data set provided me with a big insight of a world I never even knew of while doing this research. Learning about how these issues affect millions of people and what they're going through is just a harrowing thing to learn about. And one thing that stuck with me was the hierarchy and especially the caste system in India and how interesting and humbling it is to learn about. But on to my dashboard is about empowering community voices through videography. At the top right is just a small blurb about who VB is and a quick summary of their organization and their mission statement. And the story of what I'm trying to tell is how can data amplify stories of these marginalized communities. And I wanted to tackle this by having the upper part of this dashboard be centered around this map of Jharkhand, India, which gives an overview of the issues produced, the issues resolved, the ratio of, well, the resolution ratio, and the number of people who are impacted, along with the average amount of time it takes a month for these issues to be resolved. Interacting with the map, it shows the size of these circles through the amount of issues present in, well, recorded in each district, along with the colors also representing the number of issues represented in each district. Hovering over an area will show you a brief overview along with the community correspondence recorded in each district, and going from district to district, it changes with each area along with overview of the data. Also found that there was 2 other districts which weren't, well, on the map is not, they're not located right here, but they are a part of India, so I included them at the bottom left. Throughout this visualization, there are these white blurs with red highlights, highlighting certain KPIs that I found while looking through the data source. Like for instance, Gamla and Chhatra both have the 2 lowest, or how you look at it, like highest ratios from issues produced to issues resolved, meaning for every 3 issues produced, 1 issue is resolved. And Gamla and Chhatra is the same thing at a 3.6 ratio. Also showing on average it takes about a year in Chhatra for issues to be resolved, and in Umla about a year and a little over a year. I also noticed that in West Singbad, dwarfs every other district when it comes to individuals impacted through health related issues, and that's better shown down here. It's better shown down here where it shows the number of people who could be benefited from issues related to certain issues. So we switch the district to West Sinbad. You see how this dwarfs everything at 1.5 million, and you see the small areas where there are like like a few hundred people affected by other issues, but health is the biggest issue to note of. Showing at in this chart is just a recorded breakdown of the issues. Showing that anti-poverty programs, issues related to anti-poverty programs are the most recorded in the data set, followed by government and accessibilities. And hovering over the bars will give you a recording of them along with percentage total of all the issues they are produced. And these white blurs gives a brief overview of what I've researched about and what's presented in the data set, given in a brief overview. The bar chart is also interactive. It could be filtered through affected groups. You want to look through children. The most issues affected children are related to education and water, along with power and energy. And it can be filtered along the axioms of groups, affected groups, marginalized groups, the districts, or even the community coordinators' names. And same thing can be viewed over here. This filter, and the same filter that's above, districts, community coordinator names, and affected groups. I also added a chart. This is a static chart for officials who aided in resolving issues, knowing that NCHAT officials ranked the most at 144 officials, and block development officers ranked second at 110, and others follow close behind. I use this filter method due to the size of the visualization, and along with me, I really wanted to focus on the community coordinators aspect and influences they have on solving recorded issues, and how their efforts benefit and help individuals affected. It's just to acknowledge the tremendous amount of work these community coordinators do in addressing, amplifying marginalized voices, and recording issues. So these issues could be addressed properly by the respective government and the government officials, and to address social failings of the community of Jungkar and India as a whole. It's important to acknowledge these efforts and to make sure that they don't go unappreciated. And finally, I want to, the last chart in this visualization is about marginalized groups, which I took all the marginalized groups within it in the data set and broke them and split them up into Avasi, tribal, and scheduled tribes. To know these three seem to have a lot of overlap, and it was easy to just put them all together in one chart to eventually say space, and they all overlap with one another. And they're the same with the not with issues that are cross-cutting, that don't have any specific group affected, but it's a cross-cutting issue. And it's the same idea for women, Dalits, scheduled castes, and all the way down to issues relating to use to transgenders. One thing I really wanted to know about this was the plight of the Dalits face, being them facing the most harshest consequences for from the caste system implemented in the country. And their main as shown above, Dalits usually face issues related mainly to water and corruption. These are the two biggest issues that are facing this community, which is mainly stricken through their low ranking in the Indian caste system. And from the inside, I just came down here, put a few call to actions to give a few things that actionable insights that I've made from the data set given, really be focusing on the Chadra district, due to them having a high resolution ratio, and it take about a year for them to be resolved. West Sinbad could benefit from health-related issues, as most of the recorded data sets deals with health-related issues. The Dalis are a subject to a lot of discrimination due to the caste system, and showing videos related to camaraderie and social acceptance could work wonders. Like the saying goes, a rising tide raises all ships. And finally, continue network with officials and shareholders and benevolent organizers can really help with acquiring the necessary resources to resolve these issues. And there's a link to the Video Volunteers website. There's a link to download a PDF of this site. And for people who are very well tuned with data analytics, there's our markdown detailing in technical terms of how I clean, wrangled, and analyzed the data for this visualization. And that would be it.
This is really, really amazing. I mean, the design is so good. It's so modern. And I really love what you've done with the call to action. I also am actually I'm also very interested in what you showed around the government officials who had taken action, because this particular data point is really important for us for various reasons right now. In fact, we're working with this data to build sort of a dashboard that would show this to the government officials. I think Tony described it a little bit in the last call. Can you show us how we can get insights from this particular area? Like, what can we conclude by clicking on something like panchayat or block development official?
Unfortunately, I haven't set this one up to be very interactive. I found out interacting with it leads to a lot of things being blank, but I can set things up to be interactive with it, but this is mainly static.
This one is static. Okay, and how about the information on caste? Is that interactive? That could show us?
Oh yeah, hovering over them shows the effective groups in each district along with the issue in column 1 and the number of people affected in it.
Right. Yes, okay. Okay, amazing. And I'm really happy with the way you did the calls to action, because of course, being part of the process for us with all of this is we are asking ourselves the question as we look at these, okay, but what do we conclude, right? Like, well, what have we learned? How do we summarize this? What do we say to the world about, the data that we have collected over all these years from this state? So, yeah, I don't know if any of you have any thoughts about that. Like, how does one draw simple conclusions from a data set like this, from a visualization? Would you approach it by searching, by identifying the most important ones, or how does one do that?
Well, I came to it through just using coming up to a conclusion of things that essentially stand out like sore thumbs, by essentially just looking at how these two are the most read, Chatra and Damkar most read. It's like, oh, what makes it what's special about this place? Oh, it has a lot of issues, but it had a very low resolution rate, which is something interesting to look at. Meaning that, yeah, it had a lot of issues produced, but also resolving it at the second highest rate compared to Gamla, which has a lot less issues, but also has a higher rate. So seeing that is something to take note of, along with how West Sinbad dwarfs others when it comes to issues that it relates to health, how it tastes. I think that like 99% of the issues are related to health, and it's very visible in the data that shows. And it's just taking things that stick out like sore thumbs and just putting them all together, seeing things that are very actionable at the moment, since those are easier to deal with.
Thanks, Elijah. +1 to Jessica. I think call to action and marginalized group representation was amazing. I think, Elijah, one other thing that really stood out in your dashboard was the data was not shown with one-word tags, but rather the sentences, right? If we can go to the first one, the first page visualization. I love that when you hover over the icons, you can see a sentence rather than just key terms, right? Which allows, for me, I think we're also working with local officials on the ground who also, like us, perhaps they're also not good with data. So I think being able to see it in sentences, right? If you can hover over the Jharkhand tab. Yeah. So I think to be able to see that small sentence, there were so many issues produced of these many issues, that template tags that you have created, where the numbers change between them, even though on average it takes 18 months, that changes, right? Whenever you click on other things.
Yeah.
I think that I found super useful and super interesting as an element to add to dashboards in general, because it allows someone to read a line rather than to learn insights by their own, to be able to read a sentence and get the insight, right? I think that made it somewhat more actionable for me. So it was super interesting. But overall, this was one of the, I think again, all the designs here were amazing. This was also I think I learned a new word to describe this, modern, right? But also I loved how you used red color here. But yeah, thank you so much for working on this. If others have any questions from my team, generally from the team chat team here, please do shoot. But yeah, thanks a lot, Elijah.
Really great job. Thank you so much, Elijah. So now we have come to the most difficult part for a team video volunteer. You need to announce the winners. So I hope you have names in mind. Tony or Jessica, would you like to take this difficult job?
Jessica, I'll take this difficult job from you.
But you don't need
Make it
to.
easy.
You don't need to. If you don't feel like you need to have winners, don't worry about it. So
no, thanks a lot, Frederick. I think we do have winners. I think actually 10, 5 of them are not here, but other 5 are here today. So I think all of you actually for us are winners. The reason for it is, if you saw, a round of applause, right? Amazing work, everyone. I think the reason here is quite simple. I think each dashboard had something new. Each dashboard taught us something new, at least taught me and my team something new. Like you guys are experts here, so you might have known all this stuff before. But for us, honestly, I think we learned something new each time with each dashboard that we saw, and especially the ones here, right? I think there's a couple of elements from each of these dashboards that we would like to compile and put to one dashboard. Frederick, regarding this, I'll discuss with you next week. But I think there was one thing, right? Each dashboard taught us something new. Each dashboard is actually, there's something about a program that we can perhaps do something about, right? I think having Amrita here from the Impacts team, or having Grahesh here, is to sort of help us see how we can use this data in the work that we're doing. And honestly, I'm very, very confident that each dashboard that everyone created in some way or the other will actually be of use to us. We'll actually be actioning on a lot of this work, because we are doing this work on the ground. We are trying to do this work with the communities, with the correspondents, with the local government officials. So there might be some visualizations from here that a local official somewhere in Jharkhand might be seeing a few weeks from now. And it's all thanks to you, you guys. But yeah, so our winners are clear. I think there are 10 people, 5 of them are not here, but 5 of them are here. But yeah, all of you, thank you so much, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Tony. Yeah, I agree that all the 5 presenters are the winners today. They've done so much work, put so much thought into the planning for the V's and the execution is really thoughtful and wonderful. So congratulations again to all our 5 presenters. Thank you again for your great work. And so with that, I believe that we can, and Tony, you mentioned you will be sharing the certificate to show the appreciation to our
Yes, T, can I
volunteers.
share? Yeah. Thanks a lot, T. Just taking 10 more seconds here, guys. I think thank you so much, everyone. What we wanted to, I think the time you have invested into this and all the hard work, not only the visualizations, but there's a lot of data analysis work that has gone in. We know we can never perhaps estimate from here, but a small token of gratitude that we wanted to show is we have a small letter, an acknowledgement letter that we've created for you because your work has meant a lot for us. I have scheduled sent it, so you might receive it in a few more minutes after this meeting. So yeah, we have a small letter for you all. That's one thing. Second, like I mentioned, more than that, I think this data actually will be used on the ground. So all your work will be used in our work that we'll be doing, not only with the 2 projects that we're managing, but also a lot of internal facing work, right? And please don't be surprised if some of your visualization might be also on our website in a few weeks or months from now, because I think some of them should go up there. That's one thing. So data will be actioned upon. Second, a small letter of gratitude we would like to share. Third is around social media, right? I think we would love to do something with social media as well. I think we would love to showcase the work you've done, some of the visualizations. I think if you're putting up somewhere, please tag us. I'll try and share the social media handles so you can tag us so that we can like, share and subscribe on those I think posts as well. I'm not good with social media, but I'll definitely request the social media team to really help us with this. Apart from and the last bit is we would also perhaps would love to show all the dashboards on our website. That might take a few months because we're trying to create a new website for our new project. So but we definitely have these dashboards in one place. Whenever we have a physical place where we have all the dashboards up, what I'd like to do is in the Slack group, Frederick, if I have your permission, I'd like to stay on in the Slack group and learn from the community, but also share the link there so that you guys will be able to use it in your work. But yeah, again, thank you so much. I think I can express. And yeah, I think Aishwarya was earlier asking me, Tony, you seem very happy. I was like, yes, I am happy. And I think we are excited to learn all these things. But yeah, Jessica, Amrita, if you'd like to jump in and share anything else before we close this up.
Yeah, I mean, I again, just a huge thank you to all of you. And I think that this was actually quite an important project. There's not a lot of community generated data that exists in the world. There's a lot of effort to stop and discredit community citizen generated data and to argue that, only the government narrative is the only narrative that has any value. And I think a project like this will go a long way in establishing the credibility of more democratic data sources. So thanks for being part of that effort.
Yeah, thank you everybody so much. I mean, this actually shows how we can use our data to show on our website and make it interactive. And parts of the data, I think, was very, very good to engage with the audience, like people who are interested to know what's happening in the country and if they can get it in one click. So some of the data representation just made me think about, oh my God, this should be on our website. So it's amazing. I mean, thank you so much for all your work and putting in hours after your work or after your studies and classes to make all of this. Thank you.
A huge shout out to, I think, Frederick, Aishwarya, T, and everyone at Whisper Social Group for making this possible for us. Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony, for being so engaged, and same with Jessica. And then to the volunteers and Tony and Jessica, keep talking. Don't be shy. If you need to ask a question to the volunteers or vice versa, just keep on talking to each other. I think we're just starting the discussion already. And then Tony, we need to catch up maybe next week and debrief. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, looking forward.
Sorry to interrupt. I think I have something to say here before we wind up. Thanks to you, Tony, for giving us this amazing project, because it was kind of quite unique right from the beginning. When we both were talking about it, like how these people would be able to pull in these video related content and the kind of data that we have. And I think from the beginning, Tony have been really helpful and constantly giving us updates, and worked on so many things on the data part, and whatever we asked for, he was very kind and coordinated really well. Thank you so much. And I think more than this project, it has created a good friendship between me and Tony, because we have a lot in similar. He was able to help me out for my NGO as well, and we were like able to empathize each other. So I think we have to personally get in touch to work a lot for the society, Tony. Thank you so much, and thanks Jessica and Amrita for joining us, and Grahesh for joining us. Thank you everyone. Amazing visualization. I think it is one of my favorite projects. Personally, I really enjoyed working with all of you. Thank you.
One last thing from me. One last thing. They don't know, but I'm very thankful and very much appreciating whatever work you have done, because I am a data person. I know what it is to go through a new data set, clean it up, think of the tool of the visualization, how you will present. They might not know, Jessica and Tony, they don't know what we go through at the back end to do this. So I would like really appreciate that.
Thanks,
And,
Grahesh.
actually,
Means a lot.
the data cleaning and other things that you're mentioning, Grace was the one I was troubling, and he was the one on the back end who was super helpful with really helping with getting the data to a better stage. Though he was and his team was packed with work. But yeah, I think guys, if you let us, we'll keep talking today. But please let's wrap up the call. But thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Just one note. You can check the points, the participation points, and you can actually download a certificate from our Visible Social Good Champions Tableau site, which I and Fred has just put in the chat. So please click on that, go there, check for your name, check your points, and get a certificate you can showcase to your network as well. And the last thing is group photo. So if you don't mind, can you please turn on your camera and let's do a group photo before we end. I know it's really late for Fred and Candice. It's just getting darker and darker.
It's 11 p.m. here and 12 for Candice.
Yeah, okay. So let me do this. Okay, everyone smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let me check if everyone is clear.
So please keep in touch. Stay in touch with Slack is probably the best way. If you have questions, if you want to talk to each other, and Tony will catch up with maybe Jessica. There's so much potential if you're interested to learn Tableau and that kind of stuff.
Yes, absolutely, Frederick. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you so much,
Thanks.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Good day. Bye-bye.